Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Swavishtupad Paramahamsa Ripakaka Charja Asatar Sata Sri Srimad Bhai Charnavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Swavishtupad Paramahamsa Ripakaka Charja Asatar Sata Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sri Mathura Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, the Science of Krishna, Canto 3, the Status Quo, Chapter 5, Vidura's Talks with Maitreya, text number 16. Sa Vishwa Janma Stiti Samimarte Rita Avatara Pragrihita Shakti Chakara Karmani Adai Pushani Yani Isvara Kirtaya Tani Mayam Savisva Chanma Stiti Samya Marte Hita Vatara Prakahita Shakti Jakar Kama Nadi Purushani Yanisvara Kirtiya Tani Mayam Savishva Janma Stiti Samya Marte Itavatara Prakahita Shakti Chakar Kaman Adi Purushani Yamnishvara Kirtaya Tani Mayam Sabishva Janmas Didi Samya Marte Itavatara Prakahita Shakti Chakar Kaman Adi Purushani Yamnishvara Kirtaya Tani Mayam Dante Maharaj. Please chant.
Vishvajanmaskriti Sanyamarte Kritavatara Pragrahita Shakti Chakara Karmanyati Purushani Ganeshwara Kirtayatani Mayam Vishvajanmaskriti Sanyamarte Kritavatara Pragrahita Shakti Chakara Karmanyati Purushani Yanishvara Kirtayatani Mahyam Vishvajanmaskriti Samyamarte Kirtavatara Pragrahita Shakti Chakara Karmanyati Purushani Yanishvara Kirtayatani Mayam
Who's next?
Vishvajanmaskriti Samyamarte Kritavatara Pragrahita Shakti Chakara Karmanyati Purushani Yanishvara Kirtayatani Mahyam
Savishvajanma Stiti Samyamarte Kritavatara Pragrahita Shakti Chakara karma nyati purushanti. Yanishvara kirtayatani mayam.
Savi Sayajan Mastati Samnati Privartaya Prakriti Shakti Kara Karanyati Pashurushani Yani Sharakatayatani Mayam.
Saw the personality of Godhead, Vishwa, universe, Janma, creation, Sthiti, maintenance, Samyamarte, with a view to perfect control, Krita, accepted, Avatara, incarnation, Pragrihita, accomplished with, Shakti, potency, Chakara, perform, Karmani, transcendental activities, Ati Purushani, superhuman, Yani, all those, Ishvara, the Lord, Kirtaya, please chant, Tani, all those, Mayam, unto me. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Kindly chant all those superhuman transcendental activities of the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, who accepted incarnations fully equipped with all potency for the full manifestation and maintenance of the cosmic creation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Vidura was undoubtedly very eager to hear about Lord Krishna in particular, but he was overwhelmed because Lord Krishna had just passed away from the visible world. He therefore wanted to hear about him in his Purusha incarnations, which he manifests with full potencies for the creation and maintenance of the cosmic world. The activities of the Purusha incarnations are but an extension of the activities of the Lord. This hint was given by Vidura to Maitreya because Maitreya could not decide which part of the activities of Lord Krishna should be chanted. Translation again. Kindly chant all those superhuman transcendental activities of the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead, who accepted incarnations fully equipped with all potency for the full manifestation and maintenance of the cosmic creation. So this is a submissive request by Vidura to Maitreya, and Vidura's history is very remarkable because actually he's an incarnation of Yamaraj. When he was Yamaraj, there was a person who was brought to him named Mandavya Muni. And this Mandavya Muni's sin was that in his childhood, he pierced an insect with a thorn. And Yamaraj decided because of this sin, your punishment should be, you should be pierced by a lance. And Mandavya Muni protested to Yamaraj, but I did this as an innocent child. Why do you give me such severe punishment? So Mandavi Muni cursed Yamaraj to become a Sudra. He became angry and cursed Yamaraj to become a Sudra. So he was forced to take birth, but even that birth is not ordinary. He was born from a semen of Vyasadeva, and his mother was the kept wife of I believe it was Vyasadeva. So this woman was considered a Sudra, so that birth was considered a Sudra. But even though he was born in a lower caste than other members of the royal household, still Vidura was regarded as very saintly. And Yamaraj also, he's such a responsible devotee of Krishna that he's given such a responsible post, almost on the level of Krishna. He's such powerful. He could understand all the sins of all the human beings all over the universe. So So Yamaraj has a thankful task, just like the policeman has a thankful task to punish the miscreants. And similarly, sometimes people accuse Yamaraj of punishing the miscreants too harshly, but as a faithful servant of the Lord, Yamaraj is always doing his duty despite all criticisms. So the demigods are all entrusted servants of the Lord, and there are 33 million demigods, but none of them are equal to or greater than Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Vidura wants to understand the activities of the creation and maintenance of this universe, because he knows that these are activities of expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So everything in Srimad Bhagavatam has a connection with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, this is the spotless Purana. And Shankaracharya has stated that even by a little knowledge of Bhagavad Gita or drinking a little Ganges water, one can be saved from the punishment of Yamaraj. And every morning we have the opportunity here to drink the Ganges water in the form of Charinamrita. Charinamrita is water which has washed the lotus feet of the Lord, and that water is collected and mixed with yogurt and sugar, and it's called Charinamrita. And by drinking this Charinamrita, just a few drops, one could be saved from the court of Yamaraj. We also have the opportunity to hearing Bhagavad Gita as it is. So the activities of the Lord are described here as transcendental and superhuman. Around 1960, there was a popular television program called Superman. And this Superman had a split personality. Sometimes he played as an ordinary human being dressed in a suit and tie and wearing glasses. But when there was necessity of chastising some bad guy, he took the form of Superman, where he displayed superhuman powers. He could fly in the sky. And as Superman, he took off a suit and tie, and he revealed a buff, muscular body, and he was able to subdue any kind of bad guy. So everybody wants to praise a Superman or a superhuman, but Krishna is the ultimate object of praise. But he was also playing as an ordinary human being, And he was playing as the son of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan as a cowherd boy, tending the cows and making jokes with his friends. But when there was a necessity, he would chastise the miscreants, and he would, for the sake of his devotees, he would lift a mountain. He could swallow forest fires. He could do anything to protect his devotees. So Krishna's activities, he was present on this earth for 125 years, and there's no parallel to Krishna's activities in the history of this entire planet. He proved that he was Bhagavan with all opulences. And sometimes the atheists hear that Krishna was born in a certain year, and they take it that Krishna died by the arrow caused by a hunter. So they take it that Krishna was an ordinary person. He was born at a certain time and he died at a certain time. But actually it's false, because for any soul, there's never birth nor death. And for Krishna also, there's never birth nor death. We call his pastimes appearance. It's not an ordinary birth. And his departure is called the disappearance, because Krishna did not die. He simply transferred to a different universe, and his pastimes are eternal. They're eternally going on now. And this Krishna consciousness movement is such an opportunity that each and every one of you has the opportunity, by becoming purified, by purifying the heart, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting Hare Krishna and trying to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, you're being purified to enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So all of Krishna's incarnations had the full potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Krishna's childhood pastimes are especially attractive to the conditioned souls, and he displays the pastimes in Vrindavan to attract the conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead. Any comments or questions? Yes, Dr. Brian.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the class. You just piqued my curiosity with Krishna disappearing and then reappearing in another universe eternally. Are his consorts and the cowherd boys going with him infinitely into, are they equally like populating these universes eternally with Krishna, or are different souls taking the roles of the entourage?
Well, certain associates of Krishna are called Nityalita. They're eternally associated with the Lord, just like Mother Yasoda. No one can become Mother Yasoda or take Mother Yasoda's place, or no one can take the place of Nanda Maharaj. But you can become, you have the opportunity to become one of the cowherd boys, and engage in mock fighting with Krishna, play with Krishna. You can push Krishna in the mud. So by becoming pious, one can become a cowherd boy, and one could also become in any of the rasas with Krishna. The elderly residents of Vrindavan, like the older gopis and the older gopas, they're in a parental relationship with Krishna, whereas they don't realize that Krishna's God, but they have a protective attitude towards God, towards Krishna. They always want to protect him from any demon or any danger. So we have this opportunity in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya to attain the highest rasas, going beyond Shanta Ras and Dasya Ras. We could attain the higher rasas of friendship, fraternity, motherhood, or the highest ras is considered conjugal ras. That's even higher than Vatsalya ras, Madhurya ras. This is Dr. Hayden.
So Krishna is has all the power and all the control. So why then does Krishna need why does Krishna need people to have certain tasks? Why can't Krishna just kind of extend himself to do these things? Like, what is the purpose of like the person who's like in charge of like the birds and like the scenes and the smells, and what is the purpose? Like we heard like in the text, he said like something about like other something pastimes, other people's pastimes and things. Why isn't it just Krishna? I mean, why isn't it just Krishna over and over again? Why is it like why does that make sense?
Because any great person has a lot of associates, a lot of assistants, and Krishna is the greatest person, so Krishna has the most assistants and the most associates. In this universe, this is the smallest universe, but still there are 33 million demigods who are assisting in the creation and maintenance and ultimately destruction of this cosmic manifestation.
So to understand, it's kind of like the idea of like, well, why can't God like just not have any humans? Is because God likes this love. He likes to have this relationship. Is that kind of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Radha Damodar Prabhu.
So Maitreya his devotion is mixed with jnana. I was wondering what exactly that looks like or what that means.
You're stating that Maitreya's devotion is mixed with jnana?
Yeah, that's what Prabhupada said that somewhere in the report.
Okay. But still, because he was an elderly person and Badura was a younger person, out of etiquette, he came to hear from Maitreya. But everything Maitreya says is the absolute truth. It's not false. So sometimes it is said that Lord Brahma, being a guna avatar, Lord Brahma's devotion is mixed with passion, but still we take everything Brahma says as the absolute truth, and Lord Chaitanya has also accepted the Brahma Samhita as one of the highest scriptures. The Brahma Samhita is the verses given by Lord Brahma. So it's possible that a disciple can exceed his spiritual master. And the spiritual master wants his son or his disciples to be greater than him. In the 1979, there was a big festival for the installation of Srila Prabhupada in Prabhupada's Palace of Gold. And many ISKCON leaders came there from all over the world. And there was also a sannyas initiation fire sacrifice there because Bhakti Sarup Brahmachari, he was a Naishtaki Brahmachari, and he came to take sannyas from Kirtananda Maharaj because the Vedic procedure is one takes sannyas from another sannyasi. So Bhakti Sarup Brahmachari came there and took sannyas in 1979. There's a big sacrifice and there's a big celebration, and my mother and father also came there to New Vrindavan, and we saw Srila Prabhupada being bathed with water from with various auspicious substances from the cow, and many gurus were there. So Bhakti Swarup Damodar very successfully took sannyas, and he did very great service. Prabhupada told him, I've come to this material world for two purposes. One, to establish Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to defeat the rascal scientists. So Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj was fulfilling Prabhupada's desire in these two respects. So he was a very great servant of Srila Prabhupada. And Fedora wanted to hear about the Purusha incarnations. The first Purusha incarnation is Karnarva Dakshayi Vishnu, the Mahavishnu who is flying on the causal ocean. And the second Purusha incarnation is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. This universe is half filled up with water. And on that water, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is lying on the bed of Seshanaga. And Lord Brahma was born from the Adabam of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, Jai Shri Shri Gauranatai. And the third Purusha incarnation is Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. In this universe, there's a planet called Sweta Dweep where there's an ocean of milk. And on an ocean of milk, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu is lying. And his expansions are the Paramatma, who's seated in the hearts of each and every one of you, and not only you, but all living entities, even the trees, the flowers, the grass and insects, all of them have Paramatma within their hearts. And the Paramatma is existing as a witness of all the living entities' activities. And there's a very nice pastime described in the Krishna book. Krishna book is Srila Prabhupada's summary study of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And there's a pastime where when Krishna and Arjuna were living in Dwarka, once upon a time, I'm reading Prabhupada's book, a Brahman's wife gave birth to a child. Unfortunately, however, just after being born and touching the ground, the child immediately died. The Brahmin father took the dead child and went directly to Dwarka, to the palace of the king. The Brahmin was very upset because of the untimely death of the child in the presence of his young father and mother. Thus his mind became very disturbed. Formerly, when there were responsible kings up to the time of Dwapara Yuga, when Lord Krishna was present, the king was liable to be blamed for the untimely death of a child in the presence of his parents. Similarly, such responsibility was there during the time of Lord Ramachandra. As we have explained in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the king was so responsible for the comforts of the citizens that he was to see that there was not even excessive heat or cold. Although there was no fault on the part of the king, the Brahmin whose child had died immediately went to the palace door and began to accuse the king as follows. The Brahmin said, "The present king, Ugrasena, is envious of the Brahmins." The exact word used in this connection is Brahmadvaja, one who is envious of the Vedas, or one who is envious of a qualified Brahmin, or the Brahmin caste, is called Brahmadvit. So the king was accused of being Brahmadvit. He was also accused of being Shatadi, falsely intelligent. The executive head of the state must be very intelligent to see to the comforts of the citizens. But according to the Brahmin, the king was not at all intelligent, although he was occupying the royal throne. Therefore, he also called him Labda, which means greedy. In other words, a king or a consecutive head of state should not occupy the exalted post of presidency or kingship if he is greedy and self-interested. But it is natural that an executive head becomes self-interested when he is attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, another word used here is Vishayatmanaha. The Brahmin also accused the king of being Kshatrabandhu, which refers to a person born in the family of Kshatriyas, or the royal order, who is without the qualifications of a royal personality. The king should protect Brahminical culture and should be very alert to the welfare of his citizens. He should not be greedy due to attachment to material enjoyment. If a person with no qualification represents himself as a Kshatriya of the royal order, he is not called a Kshatriya, but a Kshatrabandhu. Similarly, if a person is born of a Brahmin father but has no Brahminical qualifications, he is called Brahmabandhu or Dvijabandhu. This means that a Brahmin or a Kshatriya is not accepted simply by birth. One has to qualify himself for the particular position. Only then is he accepted as a Brahmin or a Kshatriya. Thus the Brahmin accused the king that his newly born baby was dead due to disqualifications of the king. The Brahmin took it most unnaturally, and therefore he held the king to be responsible. We also find in Vedic history that if a Kshatriya king were irresponsible, sometimes the consulting board of Brahmins maintained by the monarchy would dethrone him. Considering all these points, it appears that the post of monarch in the Vedic civilization is a very responsible one. The Brahmin therefore said, "No one should offer respects or worship to a king whose only business is envy. Such a king spends his time either hunting and killing animals in the forest or killing citizens for criminal acts. He has no self-control and possesses bad character. If such a king is worshipped or honored by the citizens will never be happy. They will always remain poor, full of anxieties and aggrievement, and always unhappy." Although in modern politics, the post of monarchy is abolished, the president is not held responsible for the comforts of the citizens. In this age of Kali, the executive head of a state somehow or other gets votes and is elected to an exalted post, but the condition of the citizens continues to be full of anxiety, distress, unhappiness, and dissatisfaction. The Brahmin's second child was also born dead, and the third also. He had 9 children, and each of them was born dead. And each time he came to the gate of the palace to accuse the king. When the Brahmin came to accuse the king of Dwarka for the 9th time, Arjuna happened to be present with Krishna. On hearing that a Brahmin was accusing the king of not properly protecting him, Arjuna became inquisitive and approached the Brahmin. He said, "My dear Brahmin, why do you say that there are no proper Kshatriyas to protect the citizens of your country? Is there not even someone who can pretend to be a Kshatriya and who can carry a bow and arrow, at least to make a show of protection? Do you think that all the royal personalities in this country simply engaged in performing sacrifices? But the Brahmins would have no chivalrous power." Thus, Arjuna indicated that the Kshatriyas should not sit back comfortably, engaged only in performing Vedic rituals. Rather, they should be very chivalrous in protecting the citizens. Brahmanas being engaged in spiritual activities are not expected to do anything which requires physical endeavor. Therefore, they need to be protected by the Kshatriyas so that they will not be disturbed in the execution of their higher occupational duties. If the Brahmins feel unwanted separation from their wives and children, Arjuna continued, and the Kshatriya kings do not take care of them, then such Kshatriyas are to be considered no more than stage players. In dramatical performances in the theater, an actor may play the part of a king. Welcome, sir. But no one expects any benefits from such a make-believe king. Similarly, if the king or the executive head of the state cannot give protection to the head of the social structure, he is considered merely a bluffer. Such executive heads simply live for their own livelihood while occupying exalted posts as chiefs of state. "My lord, I promise that I shall give protection to your children, and if I am unable to do so, then I shall enter into blazing fire so that the sinful contamination which has infected me will be counteracted." Upon hearing Arjuna speak in this way, the Brahmin replied, "My dear Arjuna, Lord Balaram is present, but he could not give protection to my children. Lord Krishna is also present, but he also could not give them protection. There are also many other heroes, such as Pradyumna and Aniruddha, carrying bows and arrows, but they could not protect my children." The Brahmin directly hinted that Arjuna could not do that, which was impossible for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He felt that Arjuna was promising something beyond his power. The Brahmin said, "I consider your promise to be that like of an inexperienced child. I cannot put my faith in your promise." Arjuna then understood that the Brahmin had lost all faith in the Kshatriya kings. Therefore, to encourage him, Arjuna spoke as if criticizing even his friend, Lord Krishna. While Lord Krishna and others were listening, he specifically attacked Krishna by saying, "My dear Brahman, I am neither Sankarshan nor Krishna, nor one of Krishna's sons like Pradyumna or Aniruddha. My name is Arjuna, and I carry the bow known as Gandiva. You cannot insult me because I have satisfied even Lord Shiva by my prowess when we were both hunting in the forest. I had a fight with Lord Shiva, who appeared before me as a hunter, and when I satisfied him by my prowess, he gave me the weapon known as Pashupatastra. But do not doubt my chivalry. I shall bring back your sons, even if I have to fight with death personified." When the Brahmin was assured by Arjuna in such exalted words, he somehow or other was convinced, and thus he returned home. When the Brahmin's wife was to give birth to another child, the Brahmin began to chant, "My dear Arjuna, please come now and save my child." After hearing him, Arjuna immediately prepared himself by touching sanctified water and uttering holy mantras to protect his bow and arrows from danger. He specifically took the arrow, which was presented to him by Lord Shiva, and while going out, he began to remember Lord Shiva and his great favor. In this way, he appeared in front of the maternity home, equipped with his bow, known as Gandiva, and with various other weapons. It appears that Arjuna did not leave Dwarka because he had to fulfill the promise to the Brahmin. He was called at night when the Brahmin's wife was to give birth to the child. While going to the maternity home to attend to the delivery case of the Brahmin's wife, Arjuna remembered Lord Shiva and not his friend Krishna. He thought that since Krishna could not give protection to the Brahmin, it was better to take shelter of Lord Shiva. This is another instance of how a person takes shelter of the demigods. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Tamastastar vitagyana, a person who loses his intelligence because of greediness and lust, forgets the Supreme Personality of Godhead and takes shelter of the demigods. Of course, Arjuna was not an ordinary living entity, but because of his friendly dealings with Krishna, he thought that Krishna was unable to give protection to the Brahmin, and that he would do better to remember Lord Shiva. Later on, it was proved that Arjuna's taking shelter of Lord Shiva instead of Krishna was not at all successful. Arjuna, however, did his best by chanting different mantras. He took up his bow to guard the maternity home from all directions. The Brahmin's wife delivered a male child, and as usual, the child began to cry. But suddenly, within a few minutes, both the child and Arjuna's arrows disappeared in the sky. It appeared that the Brahmin's house was near Krishna's residence, and that Lord Krishna was enjoying everything that was taking place, apparently in defiance of his authority. It was he who played the trick of taking away the Brahmin's baby, as well as the arrows, including the one given by Lord Shiva, of which Arjuna was so proud. Sadbhavati Apamadasam, less intelligent men take shelter of the demigods due to bewilderment and are satisfied with the benefits they award. In the presence of Lord Krishna and others, the Brahmin began to accuse Arjuna. Everyone, see my foolishness. I put my faith in the words of Arjuna, who is impotent and who is expert only in false promises. How foolish I was to believe Arjuna. He promised to protect my child, but even Pradyumna, Adiruna, Lord Balaram, and Lord Krishna failed. If such great personalities could not protect my child, then who can do so? I therefore condemn Arjuna for his false promise, and I also condemn his celebrated book Gandiva and his impotency in declaring himself greater than Lord Balaram, Lord Krishna, Pradyumna, and Adiruddha. No one can save my child, for he has already been transferred to another planet. To the sheer foolishness only, Arjuna thought that he could bring back my child from another planet. Thus condemned by the Brahmin, Arjuna empowered himself with the mystic yoga perfection so that he could travel to any planet to find the Brahmin's baby. It seemed that Arjuna had mastered the mystic yoga power by which yogis can travel to any planet they desire. He first of all went to the planet known as Yamaloka, where the superintendent of death, Yamaraj, lives. There he searched for the Brahmin's baby, but he was unable to find him. He then immediately went to the planet where the king of heaven, Indra, lives. When he was unable to find the baby there, he went to the planets of the fire demigods, Nariti, and then to the moon planet. Then he went to Vayu and to Varuna Loka. When he was unable to find the baby in those planets, he went down to the Rasatala planet, the lowest of the planetary systems. After traveling to all these different planets, he finally went to Brahmaloka, where even the mystic yogis cannot go. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Arjuna had that power, and he went above the heavenly planets to Brahmaloka. When he was unable to find the baby, even after searching all possible planets, he then attempted to throw himself into a fire, as he had promised the Brahmin, if unable to bring back his baby. Lord Krishna, however, was very kind to Arjuna because Arjuna happened to be the most intimate friend of the Lord. Lord Krishna persuaded Arjuna not to enter the fire in disgrace. Krishna indicated that since Arjuna was his friend, if he were to enter the fire in hopelessness, indirectly it would be a blemish on him. Lord Krishna therefore checked Arjuna, assuring them that he would find the baby. He told Arjuna, do not foolishly commit suicide. So this is a long pastime, but the conclusion is, firstly, by their mystic potency, Krishna and Arjuna were able to enter the spiritual kingdom and see Mahavishnu in his palace where he was lying on the coastal ocean, and he was successful in recovering the 9 dead babies of the Brahmin. So now it's time for the Sankirtan Festival. Thank you for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. All glory to His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
All right, Krishna devotees. We will now read the book scores from July 22nd, 2024 to July 28th, 2024. For the pleasure of their lordships, Sri Sri Gornatai, His Divine Grace, Savior of the modern world, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, His Holiness Dhanavir Goswami, and all the assembled devotees. Here, my phone, please. We had 4 book distributors this week. Let's see. In 4th place, we have Mridanga Prabhu with 3 Maha books, 2 big books, 3 medium books, and 4 small books for a total of 8.5 book points. Haribol. In 3rd place, we have Jagannath Prabhu. We have 6 Maha books, 1 medium, 2 small for a total of 13 book points. In 2nd place, we have Magadari Prabhu, 3 Maha books, 16 big, 6 medium, 13 small for a total of 29.25 book points. Haribol. And in 1st place, we have Bhakta Joseph with 15 Maha books, 22 big books, 13 medium books, 26 small books for a total of 76 book points. Haribol. Haribol. Yes, I'll go first. So we went to the plaza a lot this week, and there was one interaction. I was walking down the street, and this lady, she could hardly walk, and she was like trying to load up. She had an electric wheelchair, and she was trying to load it up on her trailer. It was one of the ones that you just kind of like push, and it goes the direction that you push it in. And I asked her if she needed a hand, and she was very thankful for my help. And I was trying to like get the wheelchair up the ramp, but I was having a really hard time like directing it with the control. So she was like just roasting me. She was like saying that like I shouldn't be driving if like this is how I operate the car. And I ended up having to like pick it up. It was really heavy, but I had to pick it up and just like put it on the ramp because I couldn't get it up there with the control. But I used that as kind of like that kind of opened the door to tell her about Srila Prabhupada's mission and his wonderful books. So I started telling her about the Srimad Bhagavatam, and she said, "Well, I'm not so religious." And I was like, "Oh, perfect. This is philosophy." And she was like, "Oh, I love philosophy," you know. So she was really excited about that. And yeah, she was actually when I left that interaction, she was in a much better mood. It was noticeable. She was like pretty down when I approached her, and when I left, she was in good spirits. So that felt real nice, you know, because we're asked to kind of leave people with a good impression when we're out there doing our thing. So that was a nice experience. Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai. If anyone else would like to come share their book story, that would be the time. Maybe Magadari Prabhu or Jagannath Prabhu or Mridanga's here. So, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Okay. All right. We're ready for you.
So my book for distribution highlight. I saw these two young guys, kind of like Mexican American.
Hold on. Probably we can't hear you. Just one second. All right. All right. We're ready for you.
Okay, well, we were at the American Americana festival thing. We were actually missing the devotee association. I just didn't feel right to be there without the Hare. That was a strange experience, actually. But basically, I saw these two Mexican American guys, young guys, two guys, and one said, "Yeah, I already have that book." And then his friend was like, "Well, I'll buy one." And then the other guy wanted to give a donation like for his friend. It was like totally strange. Like we were scared. I don't know if he was fired up. And then he gave a 5, and I gave the book to his friend. But then I said, "All right, well, you take this one, and you can give a donation too and get this other one." And they agreed, and they took the books. And I hope I see them. They look like nice boys trying to find the perfection of life. So if they move to the top end, then they can truly get it. Thank you book distribution fees. Yeah.
So my highlight was when we went to the river market on Saturday. I was walking around and I was feeling, basically what happened was I kind of had like an epiphany because I remember, what's it called? What did I remember? I don't know, but I just remember that what I thought in my head was like, our mission is to like help the people who are in the most distress. So my goal was to find as many people who I thought who looked as distressed as I could. And there's this one lady who was on the street. She was most likely homeless. And I approached her and I told her, I told her like, "Hi, are you from here?" And she said yes. And I told her a little about the book, and then I told her, "You've heard of stress, right?" Because I asked her, I told her like it helps you get free from stress. And then I told her, "You heard of stress, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, my whole life is stress." And so so I kept on going. That kind of stuck out to me. But I kept going, and eventually I got to the point where I asked her for a donation. And since she was homeless, I knew she wasn't going to be able to, give me a 5 or a 10 or anything like that. So I just asked her, because it was the nectar of instruction. I asked her for a $1 bill. That's how much it costs to print the book. So I just asked her for a 1, and she gave it to me. It looked like it was her last dollar. So I was really inspired by that. It just stuck out to me the whole weekend, and I couldn't wait to talk about it when I came back. So thanks, everyone. Hare Krishna, Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai.
All right, so the totals for this week, we have 27 big books, 40 big books, 23 medium books, 45 small books, for a total of 126.75 book points. Transcendental Book Distribution, Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.